back. You've been watching his videos, checking out his content. Here is the A-Train with the Sports Nuts again. Welcome back, buddy. Here we go.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Woo! We're ready to roll. I don't know about you. I'm going to pull out the shaker tonight.
Nice.
All right. We are the Sports Nuts. This is Last Minute Betting with the Sports Nuts and brought to you by OddsJam, the premier odds comparison company. Mike, how in the heck do you get 2 free months of the Fantasy Optimizer? Do you know?
I do. All you got to do is email me, Mike at OddsJam.com, or Bob at OddsJam.com, and you will get hooked up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Don't forget about the OddsJam Partner Program. Lots of people out there doing content for OddsJam. You get a link. You got to go to the link in the description below. You'll get a link. Share it with your friends, family, and followers. And when they sign up for OddsJam, you get 50%, okay? And you know what? I am not going to get through a show yet without going through this, A-Train. I have to do it. I'm sorry. I know that you guys are ready to get going with the show, but I've got to talk about the OddsJam shop, OddsJam the shop, shop.oddsjam.com, with all the great merchandise, the T-shirt, the trucker, the mug, also known as the OddsJam Morning Coffee Cup, the tumbler, the bikini, the camper, the business zip, the notebook, the unisex hoodie, and the embroidered beanie, along with Slop Shop. Take a look at that face. The No Big Deal shirt, the Broke Even shirt, the Feels Right shirt, and the Buddy hat, all at shop.oddsjam.com. There you go. Woo! We have we won a parlay last night, A-Train. So
Nice.
yes, we finally got another one in. Mike is going to tell us who the winner is out here. Before we get going, there is Andre, and he just came from your stream. Cool.
Nice.
Dre's a good guy, but we need to have Dre on again, Mike.
Yes, we do.
And there is Justin Credible. Yes, Justin is here with us again. So, Mike, how close are you to telling us who won?
I'm getting ready to do that right now. The winner is Gabriel Romero.
Woo! Gabriel Romero.
Yes, at Gabriel K2D.
Awesome. Great. I will be getting in touch with you, Gabriel, and we'll Venmo you your $25. What do you guys think of Rays Angels over 9.5 runs? That's from Justin. An opinion on this one. You know, there was A-Train, there was an over 11 on the positive EV page today in Fliff. The line was 9.5. I don't know what it is now because I haven't checked, but it was 9.5. Let me go look here real quick. And if it's still 9.5, I think that might be a good possibility tonight. But it's not going to be one of my picks. Let's just put it that way. Actually, it looks like the number went up to there's a couple books that got 10. 9.5 is the number. So that's what the books have. I'd say over 9.5 is probably a pretty good bet. Oh, you got $200 on it. Whoa, okay. Well, then that's a really good bet.
Angels Rays over 9. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for you for sure. I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, anything's possible. A couple of pitchers with pretty heavy ERAs. I mean, you know, I think you got a shot. Man.
And you can get also you have to remember you can get to that Angels bullpen late. Dre is wanting to come on. U.S. Open starts in 10 days. He's going to come on and give predictions. There you go. I like that. All right, A-Train, what's been going on in your life? Are you making more money than you can hardly stand?
Well, it's been a good experience month up till now. We found a problem with our strategy over the last several weeks. There were these FanDuel one-sided player prop lines that we kept betting into because the EV looked really good, and the EV did look good, but we kind of identified that it was an inefficient market, and so it wasn't really a positive EV play, even though the math was saying it was. And so by identifying that, we seem to have turned things around and are on the uptick. But yeah, gave a little bit back. But fortunately, it was FanDuel getting some of their own money back, and I'll be trying to turn that back around again.
Yeah, we don't want FanDuel getting our money.
No,
That's right.
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's for sure. Other than that, seems like more people are watching your videos. We love having you on because you give us a little bit different perspective than other people that we have on. But still, you got to come through with a pick for the parlay, you know.
Oh, you know it. You know it. I'll have something for you.
Yeah, we got to hit another one back to back. We got to do it for the people. I mean, at this point, it's all for the people. That's why we're doing this, is so we can give you guys some money. Came through last night. Congrats to us. Way to go, Alex, the Merce man, and Bob and myself. We came through with a few winners, so we'll see if we can replicate that tonight.
Positive EV Merce came through last night. So
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Let's jump in on this right now. Let's jump into this parlay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, get us to what we want to get to here. And as last night, I did not start first. I do not want to start first tonight either, Mike. Is that right? Didn't you go first last night?
I think Merce may have went first.
Okay.
We're getting superstitious here, huh?
Hey, is that part of sports betting, superstition?
Maybe a little.
Okay. I really want to go with this. I'm going to go first. Okay. I really want to go with this. And once again, if you two want to talk me out of it, you can talk me off the ledge. All right. Okay. I know Alcantara is going for Miami. The Dodgers won 1-0 last night. They've now won 10 in a row. But you know, one of my favorite bets in baseball the last 2 years has been Dodgers run line -1.5. What say you? Is that too much? Are you afraid?
I mean, Alcantara's not having a very good year, and the Dodgers are certainly covering that run line. I mean, aside from last night, and what's funny is that was a game the Dodgers really had no business even winning. You know, Corbin Burns was outstanding for Milwaukee. The Dodgers only had 2 hits. Only had 2 hits I think, into the 9th inning. So then yet they win the game. You know, Milwaukee had like 7 hits at least or more. So really, Dodgers just found a way to win that game. I'm not against it, Bob. I mean,
all right. What do you think there, A-Train?
I'm on board with you. I dig it.
All right.
Nothing bad to say.
Well, 5 of their last 6, they're covering that. And
there you go. That's what we're starting off. We're starting off with some juicy stuff here, man. That's what we're starting off with. All right. Which one of you guys wants to go next?
I'll do it. I don't mind.
All right.
I've got my eye on, and if it depends on where we're placing this parlay, but I think you can still get an under 9 on the Arizona Diamondbacks and San Diego Padres. I know the under 9 is still available at Fliff. And I had it earlier. I think I did it at cut for 9, but I think it's down to 8.5 in most places. So if you can get it at 9, that's what I would go for.
Okay. All right. So if we take a look, because there's nothing wrong with alternate lines. Okay. I mean, I've never been opposed to alternate lines. You can actually go to the alternate line section and pick it up. There are actually more books that have that than what you think. So let's hit it here like this, and let's go look up here at the parlay, and oh yeah. All right, so we're plus 346 somewhere around there right now. We'll take that. And Mike, it's your turn. Don't let us down, okay?
I will try not to let you down. I'm going to go with an interesting one here, Bob. You're high on these run lines. I'll go a step further, and I'll take the Braves run line.
Okay. Well, Mike, against the Giants, against the Giants with Cobb on the mound, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Strider's on the mound too. I don't know that San Francisco is going to do a whole lot against him.
Their hitting's not real good, and that's only at a minus 115, minus 125. All right, let's hit it. Let's hit it. Let's see what that brings us to.
I will say this on points bet right now. I do like this play on Alcantara over 5.5 strikeouts. It's about a 3% edge, so pretty good play there.
Okay. All right, so we're going to hit it. Plus 738. We'll take it. It's going to be a 25er, Mike. So
Okay.
I'll put that together while the two of you so positively EV can talk about positive EV and what's happening out there. And look at that. Mike read my mind.
I'm there right now. It looks like things shifted on that Alcantara play. Points bet did have it at plus 110. Look at it now. Whoops. Did points bet? Yeah, they moved it to minus 115. Dang. Flip's got the under at plus 110, which is not bad, but I'm going to stay away. What do you say, A-Train? What do you do in these situations when you got value on the over and the under here?
Yeah, I mean, you could obviously play both sides if you wanted to, but a lot of times you're not going to have access to one of the books or whatever. So in this case, I think there's enough of a differential here with Flip that I'd be hitting that hard. I would definitely be playing the Flip bet because I'm going very strongly just off of the positive EV amount there, and with the Novig line at 100, you're getting 10 points of value there. I'm hitting that one for sure.
Yeah. Looking like that's probably the way we will want to go. So I'll put a half a unit on that under 5.5 on Flip. We'll lock that one in. Definitely his over had on points bet. You could have snagged it pretty good value, but is what it is.
One of the things we've identified too is that because we know that casual bettors will tend to want to see things to happen versus not to happen, the lines are always going to have that gravitational pull to the overs. And so when you find a good positive EV under, it gives you that little bit extra incentive of like, yeah, the casual fan is really going to be hitting the over. The true odds are probably a little bit overstated to the over than they really should be. So betting those unders, I find a lot more confidence in.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I'm going to turn my recommended filters off here, as there's a lot of NFL plays that I'm not jumping on right now, regular season, that are showing up. McCormick under a half a hit. So, I mean, this actually has a really good value at plus 138. Average odds are plus 109 on it. Take the juice out of that play, fair odds plus 124, 6% edge. I mean, this is a pretty solid play. I mean, guys are not going to get hits every night,
Yeah, love the EV on this, and the width is nice and low. If you think of a rule of thumb with the player props is often about a 30 width as opposed to the rule of thumb being a 20 width on your main markets or alternate markets. This has a pretty good amount of confidence for that. Yeah, I'm all over this. If I was betting at Bet Rivers, I'd be on this already.
100%. Yeah. And the thing I like these under hits sometimes because, like I said, a lot of people want to see the hits happen, but they're not going to happen every night, and people are always going to casually jump on oh, I'm going to take his over. I'm going to hit that to have a hit. I mean, you can see most of the books do have this over favored heavily, but that does not mean that this is a guarantee that it's going to hit on the over. I mean, you see it all the time. Underdogs hit. I mean, no doubt about it.
Definitely. I mean, underdogs do hit a good amount of the time, and that's where positive EV comes from. You may not win the majority of the bets, but you're winning enough that where that price tips you over into profitable territory, even on underdog plays. And that's why you'll see most positive EV bettors have losing records. Records don't matter. The dollars are what matter. And so I'm happy to play into those light underdogs when you have those favorites. I love right now. I'm loving playing unders on the 1.5 hits, because 2 hits in a night is a really good night. They don't happen as often as people would think. And so it is nice to lean into those. Those are usually heavy favorites though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this Luis Robert play, I mean, it's over 1.5 player hits, solid player. I don't mind riding with these over 1.5 hits, but I got to be honest, I don't like hitting a bunch of these overs because, like you said, it's so hard to see a guy. Now, I get it. Luis Robert can get 2 hits in a game. He's a heck of a player. He could also hit one out at any time. I mean, this guy was in the home run derby for a reason, I mean, he can definitely hit one out and we're good to go, but now I'll roll with this though.
All right, Mike, that is sent. So post it. Who's our winner again? Gabriel Romero?
Yep.
All right, Gabriel Romero. You're gonna send me that, right?
I posted it on Twitter and tagged him.
Okay. Did you tag me?
No, but you can just go to my Twitter and see it.
Okay, I'll do that. Let's take a look at what we're doing tonight. Dodgers minus 1.5. Under 9 total runs between the D-backs and the Padres, and the Braves minus 1.5. That is our 3-leg parlay for tonight. While Mike's doing that, I'm going to have me a little conversation with my man A-Train here. All right. Let me ask you a question. Let's see. What state are you in again?
Illinois.
You're in Illinois too. That's right. That's what I thought. So how much of the fantasy optimizer are you using? And are you going to the positive EV page first before you go to the optimizer? Or are you just going straight to the optimizer?
I have not used the fantasy optimizer as much as I would like. Quite frankly, it's something that has just not taken as much of my time as I would like to, because I'm so focused on my live streaming is when I make my bets, because I'm on my live stream showing people. What I find is as soon as I start using like Prize Picks or whatever, it's hard to make that compelling because you're bouncing back and forth between the screens and stuff. And then when I'm not on the live stream, I just have so many other things I'm trying to do that I don't end up doing it. But I do think over time, I'm going to be doing more and more of those kinds of parlay picks, Prize Picks types of things, because I think that's where, as your bankroll gets to a certain point, you end up needing to do more of those combinatorial things versus just the onesies bets that I kind of do a lot of right now.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Here's the thing that I'm finding out. Okay. And I try to deal with this every day. Mike and I do calls with people, and there are more of these types of calls popping up all the time. So people have questions, right? My whole strategy here is, and it just went away. There was a Bryce Young play that just a few minutes ago was at 52.5 on underdog, yet they had it at 48.5 on Prize Picks. And it was an over. Okay. Earlier, that play was 47.5. And I had a guy ask me today, when, do they change the lines? I mean, it's random. There's no telling when they're going to change those lines. But the bottom line is that when you start looking at value, for instance, what is this? Parlay play has Wims receiving yards at 25.5. The under is the play. And Prize Picks has it at 27.5. That is a huge advantage. That's 2 yards difference.
Mhm.
I mean, we know how much a half a yard or a half a point, or half a run, how difficult that is and how much that comes into play. I mean, I think that when you find that type of advantage, Price Picks has a lot more advantages in that regard. I'm just telling you that right now. Let's look at Trevor Simeon, 104.5 passing yards over. Underdog has it at 107.5. I mean, those numbers are huge. Do you agree?
100%. I mean, they're such an advantage, and the comparison's so much simpler because the prices stay relatively static at all these books, and they're same on both sides of it. And
Right.
so they're just changing the number. So you have 1 point of comparison. You're not comparing the amount and the odds. You're just comparing the amount of yards or the amount of points or the amount of whatever on that player, and that makes it a pretty easy comparison. But I completely agree. I think the challenge is for especially new players is that they have to get used to the fact, just like what we were talking about, you're going to lose more than you're going to win in terms of the bets you're making. When you do a Prize Picks, you got a 5 or 6 team or 5 or 6 player Prize Picks. Yeah, you're not going to win 60% of those. It's just not happening. Nobody's going to do that. But the dollars in the end will justify it. And those little edges really add up when you're combining them on these plays. So it's a really, really powerful tool. I think they've done a great job with this fantasy optimizer.
Yeah, and then when you scroll down to the bottom and you can actually, move around, you can now start seeing what some of the books have lines at. For instance, this play here, FanDuel has the rebounds in this game at 8.5. Where Price Picks has Jessica Shepard over 7.5 rebounds. Once again, that's a full rebound difference. And the other thing is, folks, if there's a 70-something% play that pops up there and, in the 60s, you better jump on them. Okay. I'm just saying right now, you better jump on them. Extremely, extremely important. All right. I just wanted to show that real quick, get through a little Prize Picks. I've already got a couple plays on that. Just Incredible has got Guardians money line. Okay. Padres -1.5. I'm with you there. Orioles -1.5. I'm with you there. What did you do? Watch my video? Rays and Angels over 9.5 runs in a parlay. Do I have a chance? You know what? I've won my last 5 in a row on my video. So, you got a real good shot because I've done that 7, 8 in a row before this year, and we're on a roll right now. Rays and Angels.
Hey, you always got a chance. You always got a chance. That's the beauty of betting. We always have a chance. There's always that chance.
Let me ask you another thing, A-Train. You know that people are into certain markets, okay? And they may be markets that you don't find on Positive EV. One of them's going to be player home runs, dingers. Obviously you've seen slop and all of them, all over the dingers, right? Putting dinger parlays together. On top of that, you also have things like player RBIs. And in the NFL, what I feel is the biggest promo market out there that I've seen is anytime touchdown score.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, there's no way for you to do Positive EV on that because there is no Pinnacle on. And in Pinnacle,
there is on player home runs, you get Positive EV plays,
right?
But
on player home runs, but on anytime touchdown score, you don't. Player RBIs, you don't. So let me ask you this: how would you approach wanting to bet? Because every single one of the books has got anytime touchdown score. They got all kinds of props and promos. How would you approach that?
Well, Pinnacle isn't the only sharp book in the world. And quite frankly, markets are relatively efficient, even if you don't have any sharp books. If you have enough points of view, you have a fairly reasonable understanding of what truth should be. And so if you can see outliers to that truth, you don't have to have Pinnacle. It helps because we know they're very sharp, but there's a lot of ways you can coalesce that. So if you can say, hey, I really believe based on what I'm seeing that the true market should be this player having at a price for anytime touchdown score or what have you. Like, it's like dingers. I think it's a great comparison to the dingers because it's not something that happens constantly. You're not going to get 17 outs like you do with pitchers or whatever. It's going to be something you may get one, you may not, but it's going to be more times than not. You might not get one. Some of the bigger players, you might get more than one, but you have to be thinking, how can I identify where the math overcomes the vig and the outlier is big enough to say, hey, we have an advantage here. You just showed on like how we do it with the fantasy optimizer. That isn't comparing against Pinnacle. It's just comparing these books against each other, these parlay books against each other. It's the same basic concept. You could have 5 books open, type in some numbers, run it through the calculators that even OddsJam provides, and be able to calculate, hey, I think there's probably a 5% edge on going with this player just based on the numbers. And then you might be able to overlay your additional sports knowledge to say, I'm feeling good about this one or I'm not.
Okay. All right. Very good. I have a tendency to go more towards the average odds and kind of looking at where they're at. Let's just look. I want to look at something here with you real quick. Let me share my screen because I love working with this guy, and this is a new approach for us here. All right. So I'm going to take a market that doesn't have a Pinnacle line. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take the Red Sox-Yankees game, and I'm going to take something that I did last year in the playoffs, and I'm going to take player RBIs.
Great.
Okay. So now we do have an OddsJam algo odds. Okay. So in effect, we have, we used to not have that, but we also have our average odds too, which is probably what I would go for more than anything. And as you look down this, and the same thing is going to pretty well hold true when you do anytime touchdown score too. It's going to be, most of these are going to be plus money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, it's just the way it is. How would you approach this? If I'm going to look to play a guy, because it's over, all he's got to do is get an RBI.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like hits. How would you approach this?
Yeah, well, I would definitely agree with you in using the average lines. I think the OddsJam algo is usually pretty reliable, especially for broad markets and deep markets. What's challenging is we don't know how they go about the magic that they use to create the algo lines. And so when you start slicing things very narrowly on like RBIs, there could be a lot of factors that the OddsJam algo may or may not be able to incorporate effectively. I would definitely use it as a point of reference and say if it's wildly off one way or another, I would just take that into account. It may or may not break the play, but it's going to get me leaning in a direction or not. Average odds, it's again, quick assessment of the entire market. What is the market telling us those odds should be? I think like in the top example here for Aaron Judge seems pretty reasonable. You have a 142 and a minus 205. You got OddsJam algo line sitting between that at plus 164, minus 164. Seems pretty good. And right here, I'm not seeing anything that I'd be jumping at saying, oh, I definitely have to make that play. But if you saw Aaron Judge on an over at, say DraftKings had a 160 or 165, yeah, you'd be firing at that. And I think that as you start to approach or exceed what OddsJam has, just recognizing there's some margin of error, that's where you can say, hey, I know for a fact at least that the books aren't getting the better of me on this. It may be a pretty even coin flip, but you might want to play it, especially when you are rooting for somebody or you bet against them in your fantasy football. Like the best thing feels like when your opponent in fantasy football has the person you're thinking about putting a bet on. That seems like an extra incentive for them to do well is when they're going against you in a fantasy team. So sometimes you can have fun with it too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. I just wanted to broach that subject with you. Well, hello, Izzy. How you doing? Make her talk, Mike. Hi, baby. Hi, babe. Tell him.
Doc.
Yeah. She loves her grandpa. That's what she's saying right there. All right.
That's her best bet of the night right there. You heard it.
I think she said Dodgers minus 1.5.
No, did she?
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. All right, folks. Well, look, A-Train, this was fun as always. We're not going to keep you any longer. We're going to get out of here. People want to get ready for the weekend. Are you going to be doing any live streams over the weekend?
I will be doing live streams as I typically do, usually around 9:30 a.m. Central Time on Saturdays and Sundays, but it kind of varies.
You know what? You should hook up on a coffee show.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Some Saturday morning. We could have a little fun with that. All right, definitely. Folks, that's A-Train. Go follow him, follow Mike, follow me. Get on this parlay. I'll get a hold of Gabriel Romero and get that person their money. Follow all of us. Enjoy all of the content that A-Train puts out. And, of course, you got to enjoy me and Mike. I mean, hell, be crazy not to. Shit. I mean, did I say that? Thank you for following us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all you people out there. Thanks a lot, folks. I take my glasses off and I can barely see. Bye, Izzy. See you, Izzy.
Bye, everyone.